Hi, this is Karen Gaines, your nonprofit finance guide, and today I am going to talk about setting up a vendor in QuickBooks. So let's get started. So, what is a vendor? A vendor is essentially anyone you pay money to, um, any person, any company, organization, anyone you pay money to. So, to set up a vendor, you go into QuickBooks, you go on the left hand side under expenses and then vendors. Okay. Now, setting up a vendor is pretty straightforward in QuickBooks. You simply go to new vendor. The minimum that's required is the company name, and then you can save, and you have a vendor. Now, when setting up a vendor, um, I always have two questions in mind, and those two questions are: is the vendor a 1099 or potential 1099 vendor? Or if you're using QuickBooks for bill pay, will I need to gather ACH information or information in order to pay this vendor? Okay, so let's look at the most simple, most straightforward type of vendors. So those vendors are typically your very popular type of vendors. So that could be something like a McDonald's, a Walmart, a Target, a grocery store, anything that's just very well known. Okay, a business that's very well known. You could just get away with putting in the company name and calling it the day. So let's just put in McDonald's, just for the sake of argument. McDonald's. And that's all you have to do. If you come across a popular business, a popular vendor, just put in the company name. That's it. Click save, and you're done. And you can begin using that vendor. Now, if you are using a vendor that's not so straightforward, you're going to want to put in some more work. So let's say you have someone that does your landscaping. And let's say this person's business was called Johnson's Landscaping. And you know for a fact Johnson works for himself. He's an LLC. And you know that he should receive a 1099. Then in that case, you're going to want to fill in as much as possible in this profile. So we would just put Johnson landscaping and put in his first and last name. We'll call him Tim Johnson, and put in an email address, phone number. I'm not going to do all of that right now. That would take a lot of time, and I think you get the gist. You would just put in his email, phone number. You definitely want to put in his address. That's needed to send out a 1099. I would say the address and email. You can mail the 1099s now. Address, and then in the notes section, put in there a 1099 vendor. Okay, so that when next year comes along, or when 1099 season comes along, you'll see right then and there, hey, this is a 1099 vendor, and you won't have to go looking up and wondering, is this a 1099 vendor or not? Just put it in the notes section. If you want, you can add their W-9 in the attachment section. Now, the W-9 is what you provide vendors to figure out if they are a 1099 vendor or not. And it's the document in which the vendor will list, they will provide their name, if they are an LLC or sole proprietorship, their address, their social security number and or social security number or tax ID number. Okay, but you can put the W-9 document right in this attachment section. And then put in their tax ID or social security number right in here and click track payments for 1099. Okay, now once you put in the tax ID number or social security number, this is going to get grayed out. QuickBooks is going to gray this out so that other individuals who work in QuickBooks, even including yourself, if you put this in, they won't be able to see that number. And that's a security measure. And if you ever want to change it, QuickBooks will send a code to your phone, or whoever the user is will send it to their phone or email address, and you'll have to put in the code, and then it will display, and you can edit the tax ID number or social security number if needed. Okay, and then that's it. Click save, and that's that. Now let's say you come across another vendor. Let's say you you have someone that put in an HVAC system in your building. Okay, so let's go to vendors, and let's go to new vendor, and let's go to company name, and we will, let's say a company called Smith's HVAC put in a HVAC system for you. But however, you're not exactly sure if this is an LLC or 1099. So for the time being, just put in Smith HVAC and put in as much information as you can. That's based on the bill that you receive. But then, go ahead and check track payment for 1099. Even if you are not all the way sure if this vendor is a 1099 or not, you still want to check that box until you figure it out for sure. And at this point, or best practice would be to request a W-9 right then and there, so that you can have all the information to enter in the vendor profile. So let's say, Smith HVAC puts in does the work, put in the HVAC system, and they provide a W-9 for you. And let's say when you receive that W-9, you see that they are a C corporation. Okay, in that case, if they're a C corporation, you can just uncheck this box. They don't need to be tracked for 1099 purposes. And if you want, you can still put in their W-9, but what you also want to do is in the notes section, put in C corporation. Okay, put in C corporation, and that's it, and click save. And once you do that, you'll see for Smith HVAC on their when you go to their account, in the notes section, it'll say C corporation, and you won't have to wonder, hey, is this a 1099 vendor or not? It'll show you right there. Okay. Now let's say you use QuickBooks for bill pay. All right. So what you would do in this case is go to the vendor. So we're already at Smith HVAC. Click edit. You will want to put in all the required information. And required information is their email address, their regular address, and their bank account and routing number. Okay. So you have to have those three things in there: their email address, regular address, and bank account number and routing number. And that's if you're assuming you're paying via ACH, which most vendors prefer. They prefer to receive their money electronically. And if they don't, you don't have to have this information in here. You only have to have their email and the address, and they'll receive a manual check. Okay? Whenever you, assuming the vendor wants to be paid via ACH and they provide their banking information, you go into the ACH payment information section and enter their bank account number and their routing number. And once you click save, it's going to gray out their bank account number and their routing number. And it does, again, that's done for security purposes, which is good. And if you ever need to change their ACH information, you just go in and edit the information, in which QuickBooks will send you a code either to your phone or your email address, in which you'll enter, and you can update that information. Okay? So those are the key things you need to remember about setting up a vendor in QuickBooks. And again, when you're setting up a vendor in QuickBooks, you want to ask yourself, hey, is this vendor a 1099 vendor or a potential 1099 vendor? And or will this vendor be getting paid via QuickBooks Bill Pay through the QuickBooks Bill Pay system? Okay, keep those two questions in the back of your mind. And what that does is, in the future, it just saves you time when you're running reports, when you're about to pay bills. You already have that information right there ready to go. Okay, so hopefully this video has been helpful for you. Let me know what you all think. Thank you for watching. If you're watching via YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great day. Bye-bye.